good?
You are live.
Okay, let's call to order the regular meeting closed session of the City Council for March 23rd, 2021. Before you do the roll call, the city attorney has an announcement. Hopefully he's here. I didn't check.
Good evening,
There
Mayor
he
and
is.
Council. I am here. The procedure is adopted for this meeting, meet or exceed the standards set forth in Gavin Newsom's order N-25-20, allowing public meetings like this one to be held by teleconference to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. And now, Madam Clerk, please conduct roll call, and I'll ask the mayor to recognize me afterward to confirm matters for the record.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Here.
Councilmember Burrows,
Here.
Councilmember Zafar,
Here.
Vice Mayor Perkins,
Here.
and Mayor Hudson.
Here, the city recognizes the city attorney for the second round.
Thank you. Based on the responses to roll call, the record should reflect that all council members can hear the proceedings clearly. And if there are no objections, the record will further reflect that each council member believes, based on voice or facial recognition or otherwise, that persons representing themselves to be council members are in fact council members. And seeing no objection to that, I will turn the meeting back over to you, Mr. Mayor, with a reminder that all votes must be taken by roll call.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our next item on the agenda is announcement. Are there any changes or additions tonight?
There are no changes or additions to the agenda this evening.
Okay, then item 3.2, if you wish to speak under public comment or regarding an agenda item, please click the raise your hand button on your computer or *9 on your telephone to request to speak with public comment is being taken on the agenda item. You will then be unmuted when it is your turn to make your comment for up to 3 minutes. After the allotted time, you will then be remuted. 3.3, boards, committee, and commission meetings. A complete list of upcoming meetings may be found on the city's website at www.sanramon.ca.gov. Subscription service, my favorite part, is available at the link for automatic meeting notification. Contact the city clerk with questions. 925-973-2539. Again, that's 973-2539, and ask for Christina. Public comment is now open. Now is the time for anyone in the audience to address the council on any item not on tonight's agenda. We had 2 written comments that we will not be reading. Let's see, do we have any in attendance? 25 attendees. Does anyone wish to speak to the council under public comment? Public comment going once, going twice. No one wants to speak on the first round of public comment. Public comment is closed. The next item on the agenda is our large consent calendar items. I think we have 5.1 through 5.14. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to pull? These are generally routine in nature, acted upon with a single action. Does anyone in the audience, the attendees, wish to pull an item? Have you received anything in writing, Christina?
I have not received anything.
Anyone on the council wish to pull an item or make a motion?
I can move.
Motion so
Item.
far. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. Go ahead, Sabina.
I was going to move items 5.1 through 5.14 on
And
the
a second
consent
by
calendar,
Perkins?
unless
Okay, I'm sorry. Did you have your hand up, Scott, before she finished it? Or is it just a second?
Just a second.
Okay. Sorry for cutting you off, Sabina. I thought he was going to throw one last minute item on us. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrows,
Yes.
Councilmember Zafar,
yes.
Vice Mayor Perkins,
Yes.
and Mayor Hudson.
Yes.
Thank you. 5-0.
Okay, our next item on the agenda, moving right along, 6.1. This is recognition of National Library Week, April 4th through the 10th. An introduction by Brad Morris, Parks and Community Service Program Manager, and you're going to, Brad, I assume, introduce Dina Hollowwood for us. Is that correct?
That is
Brad.
correct.
Go,
Thank you
Brad.
very much, Mayor Hudson, council members, for having me here this evening. It's a great honor to be here this evening to introduce to you Dina Hollywood, who is our Senior Community Library Manager here in the city of San Ramon. We're excited for this presentation for her to talk a little bit about what we've been doing at the library. I think she's got some nice things to talk about as far as moving forward, what you can expect at the library, and also, most importantly, to recognize National Library Week that will be April 4th through April 10th. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce Dina for a small presentation.
Thank you, Brad. And she has are you putting up the presentation or is Dina? Oh, I just missed. No, Dina?
I'm here,
Oh,
but Brad said I would not be putting up the presentation.
okay, we've got it. There you go. He's got it.
Okay, thank you. So thank you, Mayor Hudson and esteemed members of the San Ramon City Council for giving me this time to talk and recognizing the upcoming National Library Week 2021. I'm here today to let you know the extraordinary access Contra Costa County libraries have provided during these extraordinary times. During the early days of the pandemic, we started shifting funds from physical books to ebooks and e-audio books. We also moved from physical newspapers to online ones and expanded our database offerings. You can see here up in the upper right, San Ramon had the highest number of ebook checkouts in the county. We have a lot of readers. We had to rethink access to the library. So rather than requiring people to come in to register for a new library card, patrons could sign up for e-cards and have up to 15 items out at a time. Existing cards were extended until the end of 2021. And items that were checked out were automatically renewed up to the maximum allowed, as long as no one else had a hold on the item. Starting in June of 2020, we started front door service. Customers could make appointments or just walk up to pick up any holds that they had placed. They had no need to show a physical library card. We found new ways to present programs. So we couldn't be on site. So we had programs via Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook. People could participate in many of the programs during the initial Zoom presentation. And then a lot of times we could have those presentations up available on our YouTube for up to a week. So even if you were busy that night, you could still watch it some other time. Can you go back just 1 second? I have one more thing on that prior slide. The thing I want to mention is the attendees is probably understated, because when people would come into the library, it might be a parent or two plus their kids. But for a Zoom, we only counted one person, even though there could be several people in the room watching the program. Thank you. We also offered programs for teens and adults. And some of these, like that college readiness that San Ramon did, would have attendees in the hundreds, something that we couldn't have allowed that many people into the building, you know, so it expanded the opportunities for people. We also expanded our database offerings. LinkedIn Learning is the old lynda.com. And some of the ones that used to be only available inside the library, like ancestry.com, were made available from patrons' homes too. And the library learning tools consist of several short videos designed to help students, teachers, caregivers and use some of our most useful online resources. So if you didn't know how to use a database, these videos would show you how to get started. We also tried to have some innovative solutions to things that patrons normally could get within the library. So for instance, branches expanded their Wi-Fi out to their parking lots so that people could sit in their cars safely in their cars and still have Wi-Fi access. And many branches offered up to 10 pages per day of printing and scanning, and that includes both Doherty and San Ramon. And people could check out a Wi-Fi hotspot. So for instance, you could take the Wi-Fi hotspot and go and sit in a park and have your internet connection. We also have Raspberry Pis that people could check out to learn some basic computing. And as you know, in San Ramon and some of the other branches too, we have story walks so that families can share stories while walking around together outdoors. Oh, this is not the screen. I must have updated the thing. These were the county-wide books. And so the most popular books as a easy reader, a juvenile book, a teen book, and an adult book. In San Ramon and Doherty, we had slightly different books, but those ones were popular too. So what's the next step? The next step, we want to welcome people back into the library. So beginning Monday, April 26th, Contra Costa County Library will reopen most community libraries to the public for grab-and-go service. The libraries will be open with limited occupancy and offer select services. Patrons will be asked to limit their time in the library to no more than 1 hour and to abide by all safety protocols, including social distancing and mask requirements. Available services will include computer use for no more than 1 hour, reference and account help, holds pickup, checkout and returns, browsing, copying, and printing. But for the safety of the public and library staff, you will not have any chairs or tables to use within the library. You will not have access to study rooms, meeting rooms, or in-person events. And that's it. So does anyone have any questions?
Brad, do you have anything to add before we open to comments or questions?
I do not. Thank you very much,
Thank
Mayor.
you. And council members, anything? Mark, you look like you're burning to speak. What's on your mind?
No questions. I'm always impressed by the library and Dina's presentation. Thank you so much.
Okay, Sridhar, you have anything to add? Sabina?
So quick regarding the LinkedIn Learning, is the LinkedIn Learning, can it be connected using their personal existing already account, or is there a separate account that they need to use specifically for the library account?
I think you have to sign up for you have to have a special sign in for it. I haven't done it yet, although my husband did. I should have asked him. So, and if any of you don't know the LinkedIn Learning with lynda.com, it's like business. Let me see, I have that written down. Excuse me. LinkedIn Learning is video learning for business, creative, and technology courses. So I can find that answer for you if you'd like and get back to you.
That will be great. And regarding this communication, are we using all social medias to communicate within the community? Because I do get once in a while about questions regarding our library, especially because of this pandemic. Whatever as the tiers keep changing, and community members that keep asking, hey, can we go to the, like when it is going to open, all those questions. Are we continuously keep updating our community through social media?
So we have, every branch has a Facebook account as well as the administration also. So we have Facebook, some of the branches have Instagram accounts and Twitter. But so we do keep that updated. We also have a program called Orange Boy that will automatically send out to anyone who gave us an email. We can send them information about like when the library is opening or any major changes, things like that. And we have a monthly newsletter that goes out, as well as all the things that are up on our website.
Thank you.
I would like to add, we will also be, we'll also be putting it out on all of our social media networks and stuff when we get closer to it happening as well. We'll be sharing that same information through our list as well.
Good. Sabina?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Dina, thank you so much for the update. I just continue to be impressed with the services and how ahead of everything the library is really. LinkedIn Learning is amazing. Like, said, a lot of people that don't know, it's really a great resource. I know I get it through my company, but getting it through the library is awesome. And I know the hotspots seem to have been fairly popular. And I've been lately using Canopy. Also, the Arts Foundation's been driving people to watch some movies through Canopy. So thank you for all the services you guys are offering and really continuing to stay a step ahead when it comes to online learning and online book checkout and everything. So thanks for the update.
Well, thank you. I wanted to just say one more thing, which was really nice. We've had people like Boy Scout troops that want to earn a badge for the library. So we've been able to take a computer or an iPad and just walk around and let them get a tour of the library, which they're required for their badge just by walking around and stuff. So we have been able to do a lot of things sort of in a creative way to get people in the library.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Perkins.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Dina, and you and all your team, and how quickly and efficiently you kind of pivoted, a 90-degree turn and made resources available to people so that the library services in the city of San Ramon are still available to people, even if the building isn't. And thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Okay, there is no action required on this. On behalf of the council, thank you, Dina, for a great job. We all look forward to the day that we are open so that you can see people face to face. You too, Brad. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is 6.2. This is a proclamation declaring March 2021 as Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month. Could you let April and Manu in, and I will read the proclamation while they're coming in. This is a proclamation of the City Council of the City of San Ramon declaring 2021 as Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month. Whereas, when used as prescribed by a doctor, prescription medicines such as stimulants, sedatives, and opioids can be helpful in treating many illnesses. But when these medications are misused, they can have serious consequences such as an increased risk of infectious disease and overdose death. And whereas anyone who takes prescription opioids can become addicted to them. In fact, as many as 1 in 4 patients receiving long-term opioid therapy in a primary care setting struggles with opioid addiction. Once addicted, it can be hard to stop. And whereas in 2019 in Contra Costa County, there were 565,236 opioid prescriptions given to patients, which is an age-adjusted rate of 417.1 per 1,000 residents, higher than the state rate of 400.6. And whereas in 2019, a total of 767 emergency department visits occurred in California that were related to opioid overdose, and 258 of these visits occurred in Contra Costa County. And it is estimated that the economic burden of prescription opioid misuse alone in the United States is $78.5 billion a year, including the cost of healthcare, lost productivity, addiction treatment, and criminal justice involvement. And whereas according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention data, among the 70,630 drug overdose deaths nationally in 2019, 49,860, that's 70.6%, of those deaths involved opioids, and 91 of those opioid-related deaths occurred in Contra Costa County. And whereas Americans that have participated in DEA's 19 national prescription drug take-back days have turned in nearly 13.7 million pounds of medication since the fall of 2010 at take-back sites available in all 50 states and US territories. In Contra Costa County, during the last prescription drug take-back day in October of 2020, 1,366 pounds of unwanted or unused prescription medications were turned in. And whereas the San Ramon City Council supports April 27th, 2021 as National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day as declared by the DEA, and encourages residents to locate their local collection site and safely dispose of their accumulated unwanted, unused prescription drugs. And whereas the Contra Costa County Medication Education and Disposal Safety Coalition engages youth and adult stakeholders from across the county to participate in Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month activities to raise awareness about prescription drug dangers, promote safe medication storage and disposal, ensure naloxone as available for those at high risk of overdose. And now, therefore, the City Council of the City of San Ramon does hereby declare March 2021 as Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month, and encourages all community members to participate in prescription drug abuse related prevention programs and activities, and encourages all community members to pledge, spread the word, one pill can kill, dated March 23rd. April, I'm trying to figure out how you got April 27th and your name is April as the date for this, but it doesn't surprise me as many times as we've brought this to people's attention. I would also like to add to this, and it isn't on here, that the disposal of these prescription drugs may be the most important part of this statement or this proclamation that we didn't highlight. These drugs are ending up in the bay if you don't dispose of them properly. Anyway, April, are there any, first of all, are there any comments from, let's recognize April and Manu Cameron for further comments on this proclamation.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mayor Hudson and our council members. We really very much appreciate, once again, I think I was trying to count back, I believe this may be our 9th year doing this. We really appreciate San Ramon, the city of San Ramon, being really the first of all the cities within Contra Costa County to recognize this month formally as you have. And I think this year we have probably accepted, at least 10 to 12 proclamations from various cities and even some of the school districts, et cetera, and that includes our own here. So I wanted to add to the information, and that was a lot of information I know that you read through for us, Mayor, but this month was actually established. Many of you will remember Senator at the time, Mark Desaulniers, and when I first started working this space shortly after losing my own son, Joey, from an accidental overdose while he was away at college, and it woke me up to this issue, I approached the senator and I asked him if he would be willing to make that month permanent. We had done that the year before in 2011, and I let him know that I didn't want to keep seeing him every year and asking for the same thing. So bottom line is he took the lead in establishing the legislation that signed this into existence in May 2013 through a concurrent resolution 8 specifically. It basically gives us the opportunity to stress the importance for, youth and adults to be educated about this problem. Generally speaking, there's a pretty low perception of risk when it comes to prescription drugs, unless you've been personally educated. And so what we do every day, my organization and National Coalition Against Prescription Drug Abuse, as well as the Contra Costa County Meds Coalition that I formed in 2012 and still lead, we're out there every single day talking to somebody about this issue, whether it's young people or even seniors, as we did last week when we had a workshop for seniors and their caregivers. So you heard the stats at the federal level and certainly at the county level, but to bring it home, I just want you to know that we have been really impacted, I think, in the San Ramon Valley, probably more than you would expect. At least 38 families, including my own, have been impacted with the loss of a loved one from prescription drug related overdoses. And additionally, we have at least 15 families, and that would actually include mine, that the data for their passings aren't included in our county data because they died out of state. They went off to college like Joey did and other young people did. They're leading their young adult lives and they don't make it home. The impact is felt back here though in San Ramon Valley. So the impact to our community here has been severe. And on top of that, we've got a lot of families that are struggling with substance use disorder in their families. So a member, it could be a parent, it could be a young person or some extended family member. And when one person in that family has a problem, it affects everybody in the family, all the friends, the surrounding community. So we need to really all be better educated, I think, about the stigma, do what we can to erase the stigma. It was once thought that it was a moral failing versus really a mental health challenge that it really, we know is now. So that's what we work towards. How you can all help and everyone listening to this later can help would be, first of all, don't be in denial. I was there, 11 years ago. I didn't dream this could happen to our family, but truly it can and it does happen in good families. And it doesn't matter what, the family makeup is, the ethnic background, whatever, it can happen anywhere. So first, just assume that it could happen. Do what you can to educate yourself. Lock up the medications. Absolutely, you're right, Mayor. We need to dispose of them properly and a way to do that. Usually we do have our police stations open. So San Ramon, Danville, and actually the Alamo stations have a bin where you can just go drop off medications with no questions asked. But I don't believe the stations are open quite yet. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but last I checked, they weren't. But CVS is open and they have a bin. Also Safeways now do. I just checked that with my own local Safeway, and the bin is a little hard to find, but if you ask for it, they'll point you to it. Kaiser has a bin in their lobby right here in San Ramon. So there are ways to easily dispose of the medications. Additionally, if you have people that are homebound, you can actually get envelopes with paid, I think you have to pay for the shipment, but you can just put the medications in that envelope and ship them off. And basically they get disposed of properly so our water system is not hurt. Additionally, we are offering, in addition to the education we do, we offer naloxone rescue training. So for overdoses that are typically from opioids, we now have the ability to train and also provide free naloxone rescue kits. We offer them free because we get them for free from the state through the state public or state health department. And then we actually do have one of those trainings, as it turns out, this Thursday. You can visit our website at ncapda.org to get the particulars on that, but it'll be from 5 to 6 p.m. And then we also have a youth art and video contest going on right now that is with the theme, Life's Too Good to Be Wasted. So this is our second contest. So we invite all of our youth to participate in that. And then at the end of April, the very last week in April, we will be holding our Art for Action event. It'll be a series of activities that start on Monday, the 25th, run all the way through Saturday, the 1st of May. And then Brad, we were working on trying to establish this as a physical event last year, and it got, of course, canceled because of COVID. But this next year, we do hope to have a physical event right back here at the San Ramon Community Center. So anyway, please visit our website, visit our YouTube channel. We are up on all the social media platforms, including TikTok. Yesterday, we signed up for TikTok. And so we actually have had a bunch of hits already on what we've posted there. So that's all I have, but we do have one of our youth ambassadors with us tonight. And we do have, as of today, 13 youth ambassadors from schools around the Tri-Valley area, with another 2 to come on board, I believe, by next Monday. So
Please introduce him and ask him if he has a few words he wants to share. Is it Manu?
Manu.
Manu, do you have anything you want to add to this, Manu, before we move to the council?
Yeah, so thank you, April, and thank you, Mayor Hudson and council members, for recognizing the month of March as Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month, and for allowing us to continue to spread awareness about the drug epidemic. My name is Manu, and I have been a youth ambassador for NTA PDA for around 1.5 years now. Over the last few years, the drug epidemic, especially among the youth and high school students, has significantly gotten worse. Personally, as a high schooler, I've heard too many stories of bright students being led down the wrong path through prescription and illegal drugs. During this pandemic, this issue has gotten even worse as more students and adults are misusing and abusing prescription drugs to deal with things such as anxiety and depression. As a youth ambassador team, we work to educate students such as ourselves about the dangers of these drugs and help spread awareness along our schools and cities. It is extremely important that parents understand the importance of actions such as properly disposing of these drugs and locking up their medication, and that students understand that these drugs are against what is best for their health and safety. At NTA PDA, we host several training meetings, presentations, distribute naloxone, and host many community engaging contests to help spread our message. If you'd like to learn more about our cause and our contest and help us spread the message, please go to ncapda.org. Once again, thank you so much for declaring the month of March as Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month in the city of Santa Rosa. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the council? I have, I'm not picking on you, Mark, but I have your, you and Sabina are the 2 I have up except Mark. Who wants to go first with a comment or question? Mark has his hand up. Go ahead.
Sure. First, thank you, Manu, for being a youth advocate for this important issue in April. Thank you also for your presentation, and so sorry about your son, Joey. The numbers are staggering for the county, for the state, and for our nation. The impact on our people, whether it's addiction or death, the loss of productivity, as you mentioned, impact on families, and an impact on our criminal justice system. It's important that we all understand just how bad this opioid addiction situation can be, and the steps that we can take to bring awareness to this issue and hopefully prevent it in the future. So thank you for bringing this to our attention, and wish you the best as you continue in your endeavors.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sabina.
Hey, April, thank you so much again. I know I met you at a very critical time when both of my kids were almost headed to college, and really the outreach and the education that you provided through your own pain has helped I know my family, and so many families have that discussion with our kids. So I really appreciate that, and I really thank you for that. And I thank the youth ambassadors, Manu, for really helping put that word out, because it's awareness and education. This is one of those things a lot of times you don't even think about as you send your kids off to college. You think about alcohol and drugs, but really nobody thinks a lot about prescription drug abuse, and it's such a reality. So really want to thank you, and I would love to see, I think, as part of this proclamation for our city social media channels, to also put out where we can dispose of these drugs. I think that's an important one. It's sometimes, if you don't know about it, you'll probably throw it in the trash. Like the mayor said, it could end up in the bay. So I think that's an important message we need to get out as well. The locations you already mentioned, but kind of getting that word out through multiple channels would be really great. So Joe, if I could request that.
Thank you. Actually, I think I was at the police station in Sopa, but I don't know if they have it up there right now. Sridhar, you have comments before we go to the vice mayor?
Thank you, April. I had opportunity to meet you and hear from you during our Rotary Club, and thanks for all your great work. my wife, pharmacist, she do keep telling me about this whole opioid abuse that happens, and the amount of drugs they have to deliver or issue for the patients, and definitely that is a big concern that as a pharmacist she keep telling me about it. And yeah, thanks a lot. And Manu, as a youth ambassador, I really appreciate that you stepping up and communicating this with the youth, the dangers of these drugs, not just during their youth, but also it is going to be endanger their life. So thanks for all your great work. Once again, all the best.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Perkins.
It's April, and Manu, thank you very much for your presentation this evening and all the work you put in. And I know the work goes on and you'll never really be done. But unfortunately, you'll never know the lives you save because those lives continue on. And you can't really count your successes. And I know that has to be a frustration, but you should absolutely know that your efforts are successful and have saved lives. You just never know who they are. And we thank you again for doing what you do and continuing on like you have. Thank you, April and Manu.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
April, I don't think you can say it better than what you just heard. I was at a program this last weekend with Young Life and met a gentleman, and it's the same story you just repeated with Joey. And that was it. He just dedicated his life now to make sure it's never going to happen again. And it's unfortunate that something like that has to happen to do that, but you could see it that this was never supposed to happen. See if this story sounds familiar. Went off to school, the detachment, that new world around you, and then here it happens. Anyway, there's no action, council action is required. I want to thank you so much for the much needed work that you're doing in awareness and prevention. It's great work. Then I have to eat some humble pie because our city attorney makes out annotated notes on how to run a meeting. But I know so much about running a meeting that I couldn't possibly make a mistake. Like the particular item under public comment that he underlined in yellow, special presentation items under section 6 of tonight's agenda, which I didn't read. So unless he completely stops me right now, we have one attendee that wanted to speak on this. And I'm going to ask that we bring the attendee in to speak. And then I will read it properly from now on, promise, Martin. So if you could, Christina, could you bring in our attendee caller and user 1 to get their comments up to 3 minutes on this? And next time I'll pay attention to the annotated notes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That's your 1 point for the night, Martin.
Hi, can you hear me? Am I
Yes.
allowed to speak now?
Yes, normally we'd have it under public comment, but I didn't read that section for special presentation, so please proceed.
Okay, so I am a little bit dubious about TikTok, and I just heard Ms. Rivero mentioning about TikTok, and that immediately light up my antenna. So that's why I want to speak about that. I'm wondering if the teens who are more inclined to abuse prescription drugs are all on TikTok. Is that why you're reaching them more, or that they are reaching out to you more via that app? If that's the case, I definitely don't want my kids to be on TikTok. And also, I sometimes feel like all these awareness is actually sort of like an advertisement to the teenagers, like, oh, there are people doing this, and, see if you like it or not. I'm wondering, like, in the outreach, how do you make sure that you're not inadvertently sort of like advertising for this kind of behavior, and that you're actually like intervening? Because I've been sitting in different meetings, and it just seems like this, the more money we put into this kind of prevention or mitigation, it seems like the more it just flourishes. And also I'm wondering, if fentanyl is a problem, I know President Trump, did a lot to prevent fentanyl from coming in from China. But now we have a different president who opened up the border. So I'm wondering if that opened up also fentanyl. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, again, April, thank you for a great job. There's no action taken on this. We will move on to the next item. That's deferred consent items. There are none. City Council appointments, Arts Advisory Committee appointments, staff report by Parks and Community Service Director Kathy Hyman.
Good evening, Mayor Hudson and Council. It is my great pleasure to be here this evening with 3 recommendations from the Parks and Community Services Commission for appointments to the Arts Advisory Committee, the Library Advisory Committee, and the Senior Advisory Committee. So if it's all right with you, we'll just kind of proceed through all 3, and we will start with the Arts Advisory Committee. So the Arts Advisory Committee consists of 7 members and 2 alternates. Currently, there are 5 vacancies consisting of 4 regular members and 1 alternate. The city clerk, of course, announced the vacancies, placed notices on the city website, city facilities, and distributed through Nextdoor. 9 applications were received and interviewed by a subcommittee of the Parks Commission. And the Parks Commission made a recommendation at their March 10th meeting of appointment of Partha Mitra, Nanya Shastri, Patrick Gutierrez, Magalile Buder to serve as regular members, and Gayatri Subramanian to serve as alternate number 2 with terms to expire in March of 2023.
Okay, any questions above staff? Council members Armstrong, Veroz, Sabina Zafar, Vice Mayor Perkins. I don't see any hands up. We will open the public comment. Any attendees wishing to speak to this? I don't see any attendees with their hands up or zooming or star nining or going once. There's something flickering, but that's under panelists. We will close the public comment. It is back to the council. Do you have any move?
I'll move the library nominees as read by Kathy Hyman. Terms to expire in 2023.
This was the Arts Advisory.
Arts. We're on arts. We'll take it as arts. Who was the second? Was that Sabina Zafar?
I'll second the arts appointment.
So we have a motion Perkins, second Zafar. Please do the roll call vote.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Veros,
Yes.
Councilmember Zafar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Perkins,
Yes.
and Mayor Hudson.
Yes, that's 5-0. We'll move on to Library Advisory Committee. There's that Service Director Kathy Hyman again. Even though I've got a motion out of them ahead of schedule. See if you can pull that rabbit out of your hat. Go ahead, Kathy.
All right. Well, the Library Advisory Committee consists of only 5 members with 2 alternates. There are 4 vacancies consisting of 3 regular positions and 1 alternate. Of course, we advertised the positions. We received 7 applications. The applicants were interviewed by the Parks Commission, and they made a recommendation at their March 10th meeting for the appointment of Rocio Ferreri Ross, Rita Chakrabarty, and Kyle Graham Levy to serve as regular members, and Dinesh B. Gavandaro to serve as alternate number 1 with terms to expire in March of 2023.
Thank you. Clarifying questions. Mr. Armstrong, Zafar, Veroz, Perkins, seeing none. Public comment is open. Anyone from the public wishing to speak? I don't see any of the 24-23 attendees. We lost one. We must not be that exciting. We will close public comment. Do I have a motion to do the recommendations? Sridhar Veroz got in there ahead of you.
I move the motion 8.2, item 8.2, Library Advisory Committee appointments.
Okay, motion
I can
Veroz,
second that.
second Zafar. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, please do the roll call vote.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Veros,
Yes.
Councilmember Zafar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Perkins,
Yes.
Mayor Hudson.
Yes, that's 5-0. Gosh, it's moving along so fast, I forgot where we're at. We did library, that's 10. We did, who else we got? Any more, Kathy? Are you done?
We have
Senior
one more.
Citizen Advisory. There's that director again, Kathy Hyman. This is for
All right.
Senior Citizen Advisory Committee.
Yes, so our Senior Citizen Advisory Committee consists of 7 members and 2 alternates. There are 5 vacancies consisting of 4 regular members and 1 alternate. Of course, we advertised the position. We received 4 applications that were interviewed by a subcommittee of the Parks Commission, and the Parks Commission is recommending appointment of Susan Chen, Colette Clark, Puran Lind to serve as regular members on the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee with terms to expire in March of 2023.
Okay, any clarifying questions? We'll shake it up a little. First, so far, okay, Scott Perkins.
I assume you continue to advertise for the remaining vacancies?
We do, of course, and they will remain open until filled.
Okay, any other questions? Feroz, Armstrong, Zafar, Perkins, public comment is open. Anyone of the 23 attendees wishing to speak to this appointments? Going once, going twice, public comment is closed. The matters before the council. What is the action you wish to take?
I can move it. I can move appointments to the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee appointments.
Okay, motion Zafar. Second,
Second.
Perkins. If no further comments or questions, let's go to a roll call vote. Christina.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Veros,
Yes.
Councilmember Zafar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Perkins,
Yes.
and Mayor Hudson.
Yes, that's 5-0 again. Unfinished business, there is none. New business. Oh, Debbie Chamberlain gets to speak tonight. This is a resolution number 2021-47, appropriating $589,000 for the San Ramon Housing Funds for the purchase, acquisition, and resale of 4704 Norris Canyon Road, Unit 202. This is an existing affordable housing unit in the Park Central subdivision. Debbie, you got out of it. With Cindy Yee, you have the staff report.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you and good evening, Mayor and City Council members. In 2013, the City of San Ramon and developer of the Park Central development entered into an affordable housing agreement to create 12 for-sale moderate income units for an affordability period of 20 years. And in the event that a current below market rate unit homeowner wishes to sell their home, the agreement grants the city an option to purchase the residence. So in January of this year, the city received notice that the owner of a 3-bedroom, 951 square foot moderate income unit does intend to sell their unit. And the city has been evaluating the implications of purchasing the moderate unit and various options associated with the resale of the home. The city has determined in consultation with the state that if the city were to purchase the moderate unit and resell the home at a price affordable to a low-income household, while maintaining a long-term resale restriction, the unit can count towards our regional housing needs allocation obligation. So the preservation of a long-term affordable unit and the change in the affordability from moderate to low prevents a great opportunity for the city to meet a number of the city's affordable housing goals. So staff is recommending the appropriation of $589,000 from the San Ramon Housing Fund for the purchase, acquisition, and resale of the moderate income unit, with an expected reimbursement of $341,000 to the fund upon the resale of the unit. In total, the city would be utilizing $189,000 of the housing fund to create a new low-income affordable unit in perpetuity. So staff is supportive of this opportunity to create this long-term affordable unit that would otherwise revert to market rate in about 13 years. So earlier this month, the Finance Committee did review the proposed funding allocation and has recommended City Council approval of the purchase and resale of the affordable unit. So that just concludes my presentation of the staff report. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have for me.
Thank you. Clarifying questions. Member Armstrong, Feroz, Sabina Zafar, Scott Perkins. Go ahead, Mark. You're on mute. But it was a great comment, Mark, but you're still on mute.
Thank you. The question is, have there been any other purchases by the city using this housing fund in the past? Or is this the first one? Or what are some of the other options for using that housing fund?
Sure. This is the first opportunity for a resale to come up in this development and really in recent history. Over the last 20 years that I've been with the city, this is actually the first opportunity that the city has for a resale and to exercise our option to purchase. Typically, these are options that are included with all affordable housing resale restrictions, but because most of our affordable units typically are rental units and not for sale units, not very many of these opportunities do exist in the city. The Affordable Housing Fund has been identified to support various affordable housing goals in the city. They can go towards funding affordable housing projects, so or capital improvements to improve a site or the street in front of a site to bring affordable housing to fruition in the city. So there's a number of different opportunities for use of the funds. The city has a grant that we've created in the past for first-time home buyers. We've had grants for repairing homes of affordable household income. And so there are a number of different opportunities for funding. This is just another opportunity to hit a few of the goals that the city has established. One, create long-term affordability, to create lower affordability opportunities, and really to meet our regional housing needs allocation. So I think we have a few opportunities here to hit a number of our goals.
Okay, thank you. That I think it's kind of a win-win, I think, for the city and for whoever the new resident might be that's going to get that home. Have you considered? I understand it's going to be managed through the BMR program administrator House Keys, but have you considered also maybe partnering with Sentinels of Freedom or other groups to make it accessible for purchase by either that group or other veteran groups for severely disabled veterans as an option?
I think what we have looked at with this particular unit is because of the requirements for the resale to a lower income household, is identifying priority preferences for the resale of that unit to specific preferences that the city has previously identified. And that does include people who have previously served in the military, certified first responders, or public service employees that could be teachers, custodians, people who might either work for the school district or the fire department or the city of San Ramon would qualify as public service employees. So there are a number of options to provide priority preference, but because of some of our affordable housing requirements and restrictions, we want to make sure that we establish what those priorities are. And instead of a partnership with a specific organization, is to be able to open that up so that we're able to meet our priority preferences that we've also set aside as goals in our affordable housing policy.
Okay, thank you. I do think taking a look at the priorities might be an important thing. I certainly wouldn't require any change to the resolution that's going before us this evening. So thank you very much for the information.
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
I know it's in staff report. Could you just remind us what is the current balance in the housing fund?
Yeah, there's a little over $2.8 million that's in the San Ramon Housing Fund currently. And that's the available cash balance that would be available for the purchase and acquisition.
Okay, anyone else? These are just for questions. Go ahead, Sabina.
Yeah, we'd heard this at the Finance Committee, myself and Vice Mayor Perkins, and we did recommend that this come to council. I think it's a terrific idea what we're doing here to meet our affordable housing goals. So kudos to Cindy and the team for really thinking about this and presenting this in front of council. So just want to say thank you. She answered all my questions during the last meeting.
Okay, we're going to open it to public comment. Now we have at least one speaker. Please let call-in user 1. Anyone else wishing to speak, you can hit the raise your hand feature on Zoom or dial 9 on your telephone. I still only have 1. Okay, you have the floor, call-in user.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm really grateful for council member to have mentioned Sentinels for Freedom in our community. And I know that back in 2020, I believe, or the early parts of 2020 or late 2019, we have invited one of the veterans that this organization has helped to our city council meeting. And the presentation that I heard greatly made impression on me that I think as a city like ours, we really, I mean, once, like, you know, I don't know what kind of priorities that Ms. E had jotted down from prior negotiations or meetings, but I think as a citizen, I really would like to second council members' comment just now, is to go to a veteran if possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other attendees wishing to speak? Seeing none, we will close the public comment. The item, are there any written comments on this, Christina? I didn't see any from me.
I did not receive any written comments.
Okay, this is before the council discussion. I thought where she was going with that earlier was that open house that we went to up at Preserve. I think that was October, and one of our servicemen got it. Vice Mayor Perkins.
Yeah, I was going to mention that that particular property, the deed was given to Sentinels of Freedom, and it will remain with the Sentinels of Freedom forever. They own it. And so that the tenant, the Sentinel that's living there with his family, he gets to live there rent-free for the period of time that the Sentinels deem appropriate for his case. In this case, over here at St. Charles, this is a house for sale, but it's going to be for sale at a fixed level according to our county's median income. And so this is going to be an affordable house at the low income level. So whoever buys it is going to buy it at the low income, you know, they qualify for that affordable housing. And when they want to leave, they can sell it, but they can only sell it at the low income level as to wherever that has inflated to over time. So by the city doing this, we can keep it at the low income level in perpetuity, which is a big plus. All the other units of its similar type, in 13 years, those families can sell it at market rate, which will be they bought it at an affordable rate, but if they stay in it for 20 years, they can sell it for a market rate because that covenant expires. Is that right, Debbie or Cindy?
Yes, that's correct. So the terms of this affordable housing agreement that the city would enter into with the new purchaser of this unit would obligate that the unit be sold at a low income level in the future.
For a much longer period?
In perpetuity. So
that's a longer period. Councilmember Burrows.
Yeah. So do we have any criteria? Is there a criteria for the purchaser? Is supposed to be like a teacher in the community or a public office working in Sangamon City? Do we have any such criteria, or anybody can just purchase it?
So typically with for sale units, we do not have the requirement that somebody has to fit into a particular type of homeowner, but we establish priority preferences, and those preferences help move a person who might fit those priorities that we've established to be able to have first chance to purchase the unit. And so it doesn't necessarily guarantee that somebody who has that preference will ultimately end up purchasing the unit. But by creating this preference in the lottery, it does increases the chance. And so, fair housing law doesn't allow for us to necessarily dictate who can own the unit other than that they meet a certain income criteria. But within that income criteria, the city can establish preferences that we would like for first opportunity to purchase the unit. And so when we create a lottery for the resale of this unit, more than likely we'll have more buyers than units available to purchase this home. And by establishing a ranking system for preferences, it gives an opportunity for those that we've established with preferences a better opportunity to purchase it.
So recently I was reading regarding Danville. Danville Council, they approved that whatever the low income housing comes, that the preference should go first to the teachers and also for the public office within the city or their town, right? So is it that something that we should look into it so that we can provide this affordable housing within our community?
Yes, and that's what the priority preferences would be that we currently use at the Lennar and Preserve development. Similar preferences that we've established there, where we have a preference for those that are certified first responders, veterans of the U.S. military, as well as public service employees that provide service within the city of San Ramon, such as teachers and city and county, employees that provide service in San Ramon. And so those preferences would be established for this unit. But if nobody who has those preferences apply to purchase the unit, we would still have to sell that unit, but it would, at least at a minimum, that person who purchases that unit would have to fit into the minimum maximum household income size.
Okay, so it seems like we do have a preference list in that case. So
right.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I think we've had it for a couple decades actually, but things come and go and move around. I vaguely remember talking about it over at the library where we tried to do it, and it's like you run up against a rope. Well, you can't do that. We did it anyway, but it's something we could look at and improve if you think about it. We'll talk about it at the retreat. Sabina, I heard you in the background.
Yeah. I was going to say, I remember Cindy bringing something to the policy committee at one time when we talked through these preferences. So I can't remember it was an ordinance or something we did establish just fairly recently, maybe in the last year and a half, which with those preferences, right? Was that, Cindy, remind me, a policy, or what was that?
I believe that was policy committee, and we had looked at the various general plan priority preferences that are in the general plan housing element. The housing element identifies certain groups of within the community that typically have difficulty with access to housing. And so those included veterans, first responders, public service employees, as well as a second tier that we had established for seniors, people with disabled persons in their household, single parent or single head of households, homeless, et cetera. And so there are a number of different criteria that we had looked at previously with policy committee.
It's been around a long time. I keep thinking the first time we talked about it was under Mayor Byron Affen. I mean, I don't want to say it goes back a few years, but that's a few years. Councilmember Armstrong. You're muted again, but it's a great speech.
I think even though it's maybe been around a long time, maybe as you mentioned, I think you were going here to say that maybe at the retreat, we can maybe get a quick overview, maybe a one pager or something, just to highlight what are those preferences so we can take a look at it. We've heard a lot of talk lately about prioritization and things like that for housing. And one thing I heard was teachers in the past. I didn't hear that tonight, but maybe teachers is something we might want to look at adding in there as well, or healthcare workers and things like that. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
So through the mayor, I'd like to add that the city is embarking on an update to our housing element and of course our general plan. So this will be a topic of conversation that will be coming up over the next year as we embark on that housing element update and how we structure the preferences and what we can do legally. So we certainly can have some talking points for our retreat this coming weekend, but really it's a conversation that will come about naturally as part of this housing update that we'll be taking on here very shortly.
Good.
Well, sounds like this is the first house we are doing it. I hope we'll continue this more. Thank you.
Okay, just if I can, before a motion, I know somebody's going to jump out there, or I'm going to put it on our finance people. But I think the thing that's lost in this that you're doing that shows that staff has their eyes open, an opportunity to grab something at moderate, and even if it's no more than move it into the low or the very low, the difficulty in getting low and very low numbers cannot be stressed enough here. And you know, the public, I'm not sure, and I'm not going to speak for them, but I don't think they ever mind not having to build a new home and picking up a arena number on this. So I think, you know, job well done on this. I hope. Now I'm looking for a motion from one of our council members. We've opened the public comment on it and closed it. So if there's no one else, is anybody ready to move resolution 21-47?
I'll move resolution 2021-047.
I second.
I can second. All right.
We're going to give it to Sabina. She's the finance. So you have a motion, Perkins, second Zafar. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrows,
Yes.
Councilmember Zafar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Perkins,
Yes.
and Mayor Hudson.
Yes, that's 5-0. Done good so far. Item 10.2. That's resolution 2021 next in line, establishing fees, charges for various municipal services for 2021-2022 and repealing resolution number 2020-33. Christina Franco, you have the floor.
Good evening. Before you this evening is the annual update to the city's schedule of fees and services listed throughout the report provided by each department. Annually, staff reviews the fees and charges as part of the overall budget process and makes recommendations to those fees to the city council. This item was taken to the finance committee at their meeting on March 8th, 2021, and the committee did not have any recommended changes at that time. The recommendation for this evening is to set a public hearing on April 27th, 2021 to consider adoption of a resolution establishing the fees and charges for fiscal year 2021/2022. Staff is available from each of the departments to answer any questions or provide any clarifying responses necessary.
Okay, questions? Councilmember Armstrong, Veros, Zafar, Vice Mayor Perkins, because I've got one. Page 288, note number 7. I think that might be trying to read this. I've never seen this before. Bicycle license, the fee has been adjusted from $10 to $3. We actually did that. We went down.
So, and Chief Stevens is on the call, but I can speak to, so our municipal code actually has the $3 fee listed. And to make sure that we are, the fees do match, we lowered the resolution to $3 instead of bringing an ordinance forward to change the municipal code to $10.
I'm fine with it. I mean, you know, you guys have all sat on committees and commissions. How many times you see a price drop and you don't highlight it? Let me repeat, it's a drop from $10 to $3 on bikes. Have you seen the amount of bike traffic we picked up since COVID? I'm happy with it. I'm not complaining. Okay, where are we at? I jumped off of this just to ask that question. If no other questions, let's open the public comment. Is there anyone wishing to speak to this item? Same thing, raise your hand. Item attendee number 1, call-in user, you're up. You have the floor. I think she's coming. Okay.
Hi, sorry, it took a while for me to unmute. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am happy that the fee went from 10 to 3 for the bike. However, as a citizen, I have seen other countries where their bikes might be littered everywhere. If they don't have the funds to properly manage, repair, maintain them. So I would like, for our city to charge properly, not only just to encourage people to use them, but we should be responsible, in maintaining these bikes so then people who are on them can feel safe as well. And then the motorists, can also feel safe as well. And I also would like to see some sort of class before, say, a youngster is allowed to rent our bike. So then they know how to merge lanes and, what are the etiquettes and, it's just for everyone's safety. I think sometimes in our culture, we tend to lean all to one side and, get so gung-ho on promoting a popular or a trendy type of behavior, but then we sort of put safety and, etiquette, social etiquette in the back seat. I would like to see some money perhaps can go to education as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in attendees wishing to speak to this item before I close public comment and recognize Vice Mayor Perkins? Public comment is closed. Vice Mayor Perkins wants to tell us about the rodeo.
Yes, we have been sponsoring bike rodeos at elementary schools that do teach students safe bicycle habits. We've been doing it for as long as I've been on council. Dave, as long as you've been on council?
Yeah.
For more than 20 years, we've been teaching safe bicycle habits at the elementary school. I'm sure we'll continue to do that. Haven't done it this year. Of course, we haven't had kids in school this year. So I suspect that next year that the staff will be happily back in doing that.
So can I add to that?
Go ahead, Sabina.
So the plan was to take the rodeo to more of a community event and have an event where both adults and kids can come. It was planned, like you said, for this last year, but obviously because of the pandemic, we couldn't do it. So I think it's going to get better and bigger than before to teach safety, not only to the middle schoolers, but to the community at large in partnership. So.
Very good point. Sridhar Varos.
I'm sure Kathy might have already informed this to co-field users, co-sponsored field users. Just I want to make sure, is it already communicated, and did we get any feedback from our co-sponsored field users, especially because of this COVID-19 issue that's going on with their revenues?
Kathy?
Yeah, you're speaking of the field use fees. The plan that was generated a few years ago was communicated with them, and we did it intentionally for a multi-year plan so that they could plan for it and make sure that they were aware of it. So absolutely, they're all aware of the fee increases, and we haven't had any complaints or any issues at this point that we've heard of.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great. Okay, Mark, you're on mute again. If you want to make a motion to introduce a resolution and set April 27th. We're going to give you the opportunity, but you got to get off of mute.
All right, I'll make the motion that, well, hold on, let me go back to the wording of it.
Move to introduce a resolution number next in line establishing fees and charges for various municipal services for fiscal year 2021, 2022, repealing resolution number 2020-03, and to set April 27, 2021 for a public hearing. Is that the one you were thinking of?
That's the one I was thinking of. You got the
Motion
words right out of my mouth.
Motion Armstrong, second Perkins. Any further comments? Everybody's mute. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Veros,
Yes.
Councilmember Zafar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Perkins,
Yes.
and Mayor Hudson.
Yes, that's 5-0. Again, number 11, city manager comments. We've been waiting all night for this.
I am going to keep it brief. Just a reminder that this Saturday at 10 a.m. is the City Council goal setting session that will be at the San Ramon Community Center. And those folks that would like to come out and observe that are certainly welcome. And that's it for me tonight.
Thank you. Seeing no further comments, public comment is open. Now is the time for people in the audience. We got one attendee wants to speak, 18 attendees who wish to speak on any item not on tonight's agenda. We've already gone through the written. Does anyone else wish to speak? Okay, we have one person, and that's call-in user number 1. You're up.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I have 2 points to make. Number one, I heard the presentation of our fire district. I want to thank them for their superhero speed in vaccinating our community. I do, as a public though, I'm always very dubious about, the source of the vaccination. And I just want to plead to the council members to please keep an eye on the vaccinations that we're receiving, because there have been reports that the Latin American countries like Chile, that has, vaccinated 4 million of their citizens with Chinese-made vaccines, are seeing a 30% increase of positive COVID cases. And that is not just Chile alone. It's all the countries who are actively vaccinating their citizens with Chinese-made vaccines. So I urge the elected officials to please be the guards for us residents and citizens. Thank you so much for that. And my second point is I see that there is a closed session later for a negotiation. I want to give my heartfelt thank you to our police department. SRPD has been nothing but the best, truly excellent.
Let me stop you there, caller. You actually have an opportunity to speak to that item when it comes up.
Oh, okay. All right then. So I just want to, say to please not defund them, but increase funding to them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing we're down to 17 attendees, we're really keeping their attention on that one. We will close public comment. City council members and mayors come. I want to make one comment before you get into it. I should have listened to Martin and just read what he put down here. Normally, we don't let people speak to both public comments, but actually this speaker did not. She spoke to item 6 because I didn't read it when I was supposed to. It won't happen again. Anyway, city council members, Sridhar, you're on the right side of my screen. Do you want to speak first?
I don't have any items.
Perfect. Councilmember Armstrong.
Well, I didn't attend any meetings since our last council meeting, but I did I just want to make a comment. You know, we've all been seeing a flood of written input on this potential for the marketplace development. Planning Commission's been seeing it, I'm sure as well, because I see it addressed to them. There seems to be a lot of erroneous information in a lot of the emails on the status of the concept and what the process is if it were to move forward. Information seems to be kind of lacking in terms of the role or the rights of the owner of the property, the role of the Planning Commission, the role of City Council in all of this, and also some misinformation about the state laws regarding housing developments and SB 330 and things like that. Even the requirements from the state for us to meet our arena numbers. So I've just wondered if any other council members, any of my colleagues would also like to see something like an FAQ that might address some of these recurring questions that we seem to see in all this community feedback on this marketplace development. I think something like that. I know we've got the website and the hot topics list on our city website, but I'm thinking maybe even flesh it out a little bit more in terms of an FAQ might be helpful as we move into the future on this issue. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Council Member Zafar and then Vice Mayor Perkins.
Okay, thank you. So the San Ramon Arts Foundation is sponsoring a film club and asking you to check out Loving Vincent from the library through Canopy and join them in a virtual discussion this Sunday, which also happens to be Vincent van Gogh's birthday at 6 p.m. So check that out. The other thing I wanted to point out was that yesterday actually marked the 1-year anniversary since Contra Costa County and actually San Ramon lost its first resident to COVID-19. Since then, the nation has lost more than 500,000 people to the pandemic. So it's a sad reality, but something we've dealt with over the past year. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Contra Costa just opened up vaccines to 50 plus. It's getting closer to my age, so I'm excited about that.
Boy. Oh boy.
Almost there. Fingers crossed.
That was a shot. Sorry, keep going.
And yeah, I was just going to say they've already partially vaccinated 500,000 people, and so it seems to be growing really well. I can't wait to be vaccinated. I'll say that. I'm looking forward to it. And the third, but the most important thing I wanted to also express was my concern regarding the growing attacks on the Asian American and the Pacific Islanders community, specifically over the last 12 months. There has been escalating harassment and violence since the breakout of the pandemic, and the most recent attack was March 16th, 2021, which killed eight people in Atlanta, 6 of whom were Asian American women. So I really want to express my sympathies to the families of these victims. We have a large Asian American and Pacific Islander community in San Ramon, and I just want to say that we're here for you. We do stand in solidarity, and I want to make sure that I ask everybody in the community as well to take a stand against this hate and bigotry, and just want to condemn this again. So those were my comments.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Perkins.
Yes, I want to thank Councilmember Zafar for her last comments about that. And if anybody feels unsafe, I honestly believe our police are here to help you feel safe. So if there's an incident or there's some confrontation or something that maybe we can help with, please let us know. I did attend a meeting. I'm on the board of Marin Clean Energy, MCE, which is the power provider for about 90% of the city, including many of the city-owned buildings. And so we passed our budget for the year. The numbers are kind of mind-boggling when you come from a city where our operating budget's about 50 million. The electricity revenue for the year is expected to be about $500 million. That's an increase of about $50 million. We did increase our uncollectible account from about 3 million to 9 million, recognizing that there are going to be many accounts that won't be collectible through the year. Our net revenue will be about 73 million for the year, and our operating expense will be about 33 million. So our operating expense is about 6.8% of revenue, which is far below the industry average. Our operating income for the year will be about 40 million. And so our net position will grow to about 252 million. That's our reserves, if you will. So we have a reserve that's about half of our revenue for the year. So $252 million reserves. It's a very, very healthy organization, the finances. And by the way, we have no debt of any consequence because we have a 401k with matching kind of retirement program. We don't have a defined benefit program. We have a defined contribution program. And then we also have the similar kind of thing for retiree health. It's you build up a health account. And so we don't get large unfunded liabilities. In fact, we have zero unfunded liabilities. So with $252 million in the bank and about $500 million revenue, MCE is very healthy going forward.
Okay.
Questions about MCE, please let me know. Mark, you got something?
No, he's on mute. Okay. Last comments before we go to the last item. Go ahead.
I don't have anything on MCE, but I did ask a question and I didn't hear anybody address it. So I'll just ask it again. Does anyone else other than me, any of my colleagues, want to see some kind of an FAQ or a little bit more detail regarding marketplace development that might help our community understand where we're at above and beyond what we have on our current website, the hot topics list?
I was going to touch on it a little bit when I get through with or I'll make it my fifth item. The first four.
I just wanted to say, it's not that we didn't hear you. I just want to confirm from Martin that if it's not agendized, can we actually agree?
We are not in a position to vote on a matter like that. In this context, staff can take what you're advising, bring it back, and if necessary, either act on it without further council action or bring it back to the council if staff feels that it needs to do so.
And I'm not looking for a vote. I'm just having dialogue with my colleagues here.
Okay.
I think that is a good topic for our retreat on the weekend.
The staff will take care of business. You don't need to. You won't need to bring it back to council.
That concludes the mayor's report for the evening. Anyway, outside of the emails that I never get, I can't wait to get off this meeting so I can back and address about 12 more. The Diablo Valley College Speech and Debate Team won first place at the California Community College Forensic Association State Championship Tournament held on the 10th through the 14th. This is the first time in DVC history that a speech and debate team, also referred to as forensic, has won a state championship. And the first time in 45 years that an institution in Northern California has taken a top spot. It reminded me of when we took the national championship for the junior champion golfers, but this is a little bit different. Have been in several legislative meetings. It's amazing what comes to the forefront, and it seems to pop up in every one of them, including today. SB 9 Atkins, SB 10 Wiener, you may want to read them. I know before we do a fact sheet or anything like that, we're going to make sure that it is amazing how fast things change in legislation, but that's up to our staff to look at. I was at a meeting, federal advocacy from County Connection with Eric Swalwell. First words out of his mouth, and we jumped all over it, was Valley Link. This is an opportunity we're working on between LAFTA and County Connection to try and get a hydrogen bus that'll be running from actually on the other side of the bridge, the Benicia Bridge, to East Dublin. And once it gets past Walnut Creek, hopefully only one stop, and that would be Bishop Ranch. Mentioned at that time, the Carl Moyer program at the Air District usually gets about 93 million because of some past deal. There'll be $243 million available. So hopefully we're going after something like that. Ask them to take a look at AB 905 is something similar to what Bishop Ranch has, where they have a little vehicle go around if you want, they'll refuel you. Well, it's only going to be a couple of years before that's available in hydrogen, and hydrogen is coming fast. The Tri-Valley mayors were looking at the same thing, how to take positions. One really caught my attention, and that was AB 215 Chew. They put a watch on it. I put a personal watch it die. This bill expands the state's approach to enforcement of housing laws by local jurisdictions by adding SB 330 to the list of regulations for which cities may be referred to the Attorney General or be faced with significant fines. I mean, the hits just keep happening. I will leave it at that. Staff will take care of the request that was made. I'm sure we'd all like to get an answer to it. That concludes my report. Now we will go to item 14, which is a closed session. 14.1, convene to closed session pursuant to Government Code 54.957.6 for City Council to meet with city negotiators concerning upcoming labor negotiations with the San Ramon Police Officers Association. Public comment is open. We have 10 users here. If anyone wishes to speak to this item, there is an opportunity before we go into closed session. Caller and user one. We'd love to have you come back and invite you to speak before we go into closed session. You have the floor. I know you're here somewhere.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, it always takes a while for me to unmute myself. I apologize. I just want to make a comment to what Councilmember Zafar just said. I'm an East Asian. I'm from Taiwan. I appreciate Councilmember Zafar looking out for East Asian, which is the group of Asians who have been in the racism target. However, I want to sort of share my perspective with the council members and mayor. For example, the Chinese always are threatening to bomb Taiwan. And as an immigrant from Taiwan, I actually feel
I got to stop you too. This is about a closed session. We can't, that's like public comment. This has to be if there's something you want to talk about the negotiations with our police officers. We can't go off schedule on this one. Oh, are you there? In fact, I believe that's what you were going to tell me, correct, City Attorney? Yes, that this is not
okay. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, but
okay.
The item that we're speaking to has to be about.
I understand. I went off topic. Okay, that was an intro. Anyways, I just want to, again, stress that our PD has been absolutely the best because, in the past, when there's conflict between Asian to Asian, they have handled it beautifully. So I just want you guys to go into the closed session backing our police. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on attendees wishing to speak? Seeing none, public comment is closed. We will adjourn to closed session. We can't kick everybody off. Do we have a different link to this? How are we doing this?
So City Council received a separate link. This meeting will continue to run until you come back to report on your closed session.
Okay. So SS.
And do you want to give us a quick 2-minute break and then we
Yes.
join that?
I'm sorry. I thought we were on it. You're right. Take 5 minutes.
And see you in the other meeting.
Why am I so slow? Oh, Christina's not here.
Christina is waiting for us.
Yeah. Oh, are you here, Christina? We can't do it.
I'll go get her if she's not back here.
Yeah, we got a recorder. It's not a official. Two, three. And Mark, you're here too, right? Okay. I am. There he is. Okay. We got Christina. We good? Let me know when we're up.
You're ready.
Okay, the council is reconvening into open session. This is a report on the closed session. Council met in closed session and has given direction to the city's negotiators and has nothing to report at this time. If there is no further comments on this item, we are adjourned. The next regular scheduled council meeting will be held on April 13th, 2021. Thank you all. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.